Yo, what's up? It's Driscoll. Welcome to this new video. I got some sick stuff for you today. So without further ado, let's see what we're going to be breaking down.
My flesh was dull gold, and my blood rotted. Cold turned to corpse, left in my wake. I am Melania, blade of Nicola.
Alright, so I'm gonna start by showing you the intro. This is far from being done, but I feel like I made this good melody and I can give you some good tips on how to create something like this. So I'm using a grand piano. This is a stock Ableton instrument. And to this piano, I added some EQing and reverb, a little bit of chorus and some delay. And the melody sound like this. So as you can see, I'm using the C# harmonic minor scale because this scale gives me access to this really dark chord, the C dominant. And I just love the sound of this chord, so I'm a big fan of the harmonic minor scale. And I create a lot of tension by adding some notes that are really close together, for example, the D# and the E here. And I'm using a lot also the C note, which is the characteristic of the C# harmonic minor. And this whole thing creates just a very dark vibe to the melody. And also you can see that all my chords are really sliced up in different notes. This is because I like to create melodies from within the chords. And then I add the top melody to complement that. And then as a second instrument to the intro, I just added this Serum patch. It's just a pad from the stock presets of Serum. You can find it in the pads section here. And it sounds like this. So we don't even hear the top melody, but we can hear the chords and it creates some ambience and it adds a little bit of low end to the whole stuff. Alright, and then moving on to the drop. So the first thing happening in this drop is that the main melody starts the drop on the first 2 bars. It's just a Serum patch for the first instrument here. It almost sounds like a very detuned piano. Then we have this very low Moog bass type sound that I made in Serum. So it's just 2 saw waves with a lot of voices and a little bit of detuned, some EQing on the high end, and distortion and compression. Then we have this pad patch from Serum. And then I'm using this pluck sound from Serum as well. And I'm adding a little bit of notes to the melody. But it's still following the same theme. And then we have those stabs from Kashmir following the chords. And then moving on to the most interesting, the basses. So the main bass on itself sounds like this. And now here's how it sounds without any processing. Yeah, so as you can see, processing is really important. This is what's gonna make your sound, basically. So if we look at the Serum patch, I'm just using a triangle wave. It's being FM'd by this spectral wavetable. This is the main LFO creating the movement in this bass. So this is on the level, on the wavetable position, on the sync, and this is moving these parameters on the filter. And then with another LFO, I'm creating this 1-2 type sounds where I have this LFO being all the way up for the first half and then all the way down for the second half, and the rate is on half notes. So for every quarter notes, we're playing one of these sections. This LFO is on the FM and on the sync, and it's very subtle right now, but if we listen to the sound, we can hear that the first note is a little bit more high pitched than the second one because we're moving the sync a little bit. And then moving on to the effects. So we start with some hyper dimension. As always, the mix for the hyper is down, size for the dimension is down, and the mix is at 25%. I'm using the diode 1 distortion. And then the first really important element of this sound is the delay here. I'm putting a very short delay on 31 milliseconds on both left and right. And I'm putting this LFO2 on the mix, and it's gonna create two different tonalities based on the shape of this LFO. So it helps a lot creating these type of robotic basses. And then I just compressed it with the multiband compressor here. And as another filter, I'm using the all pass filter with movement on the cutoff. Also, LFO1 is modulating the mix of the filter and also the mix of the distortion. And then in post-processing, so I'm adding an OTT, I'm adding a disperser with the amount almost all the way up. So the disperser like this adds this very warm low end to the bass. And then I'm EQing the low end a little bit. I'm adding the saturator with the drive at almost 7 dB. Soft clip is on and the output is down. And then the next big trick for this bass is to add another delay. And then I'm EQing a bit more just to add even more frequencies on the parts that I want it to stand out. And then I'm just adding the saturator with the drive at 8.5 dB, soft clip is on, and output is down. Then for the second part, this is all the same processing. I duplicated the main bass, and I think the only thing I changed was the wavetable for the FM. It doesn't sound too different, it's very subtle, but I feel like it does make a difference. Then for the sub bass, I'm using the same sub bass as always. Just to recap, it's a sine wave with some envelope on the coarse pitch, and it's going through a lot of distortion and saturation, and of course some EQ just to keep the low end. And then as always, I'm grouping the main bass and the sub bass together, and I'm adding a G clip on the group where I push the sound, in this case almost 7 dB, just to glue everything together and create this distorted sound. So if I play the main bass and the sub bass together without the G clip, this is how it sounds. But if I add the G clip, that's how it sounds now. You see how it glues everything together and just add this very saturated sound. So if that's what you're going for, you know, that's how you do it. And then to finish it off, I have this top support bass that sounds like this. And I'm pretty sure this is also a duplicate of the main bass. So all the post-processing is exactly the same as before. The only difference is I changed the basic shape and I changed the FM wavetable. I removed the LFO2 that's creating this 1-2 type sound, and I just added a lot more sync to make it higher in tonality, as well as putting up 2 octave on the FM wavetable. And also another good trick I want to mention is that I'm using the auto pen to create the 1/4 rate of the bass, because if I don't use it, all these effects are gonna leave a tail to the sound that I don't like. You see how it's taking so much space in the speakers? So to counter that, at the end of the processing chain, I'm just using this auto pan to create the quarter note pattern. And then on the second part of the drop, I'm using a macro just to change a little bit the tonality. So the macro is set on the sync and it's just pushing the sync a bit more. For the vocals in the intro, I'm just using Melania's sample. I beat her ass not too long ago for the 3rd time, and I just heard this vocal so much that I wanted to use it in the song.
My flesh was dull gold, and my blood rotted. Corpse after corpse left in my wake. I am Melania, blade of Mikola.
And yeah, I think that's it, guys. So as always, I hope you learned something. If you did, please leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel to not miss any of the future videos. This is Driscoll, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
My flesh was dull.